Welcome back to Visa, where the two-time European champion Rob Cross has come from behind, 4-1 down to Stefan Belmont before turning it around, winning 5 straight legs. Belmont did not miss a dart at double until right at the end, when the one miss that he had would have put him 5-4 up. There you see the numbers, very little between them. Finishing magnificent from Stefan Belmont, but not quite magnificent enough. And it is Rob Cross who progresses to the final day of action here at the Oktoberhallen, which, as you can see and hear, is bouncing. It is like some sort of rally here. 2 Unlimited, Belgium's great sons, have decided to join the party. Let's show you what we've got. Rob Cross and Andy Barton's already through, a host of other names to come. Next up, it is the rock star Joe Cullen and Canada's #1 Matt Campbell.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 2023 Black Leather Belgian Darts Open. The second round brought to you live by the PDC Europe here from the Oktoberhallen in Wieze, Belgium. Time to get our next 2 players onto the stage. Would you please welcome first from Canada, with 3 titles on the Challenge Tour, a World Cup of Darts quarter-finalist. It's the Ginger Ninja, Matt Campbell!
I tried to cut these corners, tried to take the easy way. I kept on falling short of something. I could have gave up then, but then again I couldn't help it. I traveled all this way to something. I take it in, but don't.
And his opponent from Bradford, England, the world number 12. A Premier League finalist and the former Masters champion. Please welcome Rockstar Joe Cullen.
She knows it's too late as we're walking
And ladies and gentlemen, will you please also welcome on stage our referee for the next 2 matches, and that is George Nova.
Cullen, a quarter-finalist in Graz, a semi-finalist in Munich, an early exit in the most recent European Tour in Leeuwarden in the Netherlands, went down in the last leg, decided to Stephen Bunting, so we'll want to get back on the Euro Tour horse, a horse which has brought him a great deal of success over the years. Twice a winner in Germany, once in Hungary as well, and looking to add Belgium to the list. As Paul Nicholson said in our last game featuring Rob Cross, it was the Munich event where Joe Cullen really kick-started his Euro Tour campaign, said he was feeling the pressure of not winning games and slightly alarmed about his seeding position. But things have dramatically improved in subsequent weeks, and there's another opportunity to make them improve further here. But Matt Campbell, the Ginger Ninja, a 6-3 winner over Callan Ridge, and looking pretty solid yesterday, is potentially very tough opposition. The winner of this faces either Raymond van Barneveld or Dirk van Duijvenbode. And there is a question mark next to Dirk van Duijvenbode because we don't know how much his injury is affecting his game. I knew that he sat out a big practice session they had in the Netherlands this week when he could have been playing alongside a whole host of other top players to get ready for this.
100.
So maybe an initially daunting section of the draw could prove to be a section of great opportunity. We shall see. Rob Malarkey is alongside me to see who prevails in this one.
Yeah, interesting that. I mean, I saw Van Duijvenbode on the practice board yesterday wearing flip-flops. He had a very flimsy-looking protective sock on his affected
60.
foot, but looked to be in good spirits. But we'll obviously keep an eye on that as we get any news throughout the course of the afternoon. But looking forward to this one. I've been impressed with Campbell over the course of the recent Euro Tour events that he's been involved in. I watched him in Graz recently, and I commentated on that match yesterday against Callan Ritz. Ritz started off well enough. It was a strange one. He took the opener with a 110 checkout, looked fairly comfortable, but then Campbell just reeled off the next 5. And as you say, very solid and showing signs once again maybe that he could be a one to avoid, I think, in the early stages for the seeded players.
37.
Absolutely. Well, contrasting fortune to the top 2 from Canada, because Jeff Smith continues to struggle, but Matt Campbell continues to look dangerous without really producing any deep runs. Not at the minute, though. That leaves him double 16.
88.
Probably comes back.
50.
And will do so.
63. Match record 16.
And this time Campbell makes no mistake with double 8 and takes the opening leg with a 16-dart hold of throw.
First time these two have crossed paths in professional darts. But Campbell has been plying his trade on the PDC circuit quite some time now, so it's not like it's a complete stranger towing the Oki against Cullen. He'll be aware of him, just hasn't tested himself mano a mano as yet. Rather savage deflection, going very, very high. But back-to-back ton 40s is asking a question of the rock star.
100.
Yeah, pursed lips once again from Campbell. Just a little bit hit and miss so far.
81.
It's one of those ones where the difference between a single and a treble is vast. If he picked up a treble 20, he would have been on a 2-dart finish here. He still had a chance to win the leg against the darts. He would have done after the first dart at any rate.
60. Joe requires 36.
Yeah, just checking where he was. He wasn't sure where that second dart found, but Cullen has found double 18 to level things up. 13-dart response from Joe Cullen, the winner of 3 titles on the European Tour, including one last year in Hungary. I was impressed with Joe in Graz when I commentated on a couple of his matches on that quarter-final run, and I was a little bit surprised that he didn't back it up with another deep run in the Netherlands last week. But Stephen Bunting can be a very awkward customer.
Yeah, Bunting's a tough draw for anybody at any stage.
100.
As Michael van Gerwen has found out for the first time this year, losing on stage to Bunting for the first time in his career. Happened on the European Tour. That is a 180 where you think he could have got another 7, 8 darts in there, maybe more.
140.
Simple message on that 180 card, but one we can all understand.
136. Match record 161.
Can't understand that. It's upside down. That has just gone the wrong side. And so Campbell will have to tidy things up, and he's tidied up very well indeed. But Cullen has a solid opportunity here for a breaker throw. Double 16 for 2-1. And a potential 12-dart break.
35.
Just inside on that double 16. Chance goes a begging for Cullen. And the reaction tells its own story. Campbell isn't there yet, though.
24. Joe, you requires 16.
Yeah, and that is 1 from 5 for Matt Campbell. Joe Cullen making hard work of this one as well. Double 2 gets there in the end. Early break, and Cullen edges in front 2-1.
It's the point I always make about Cullen in those situations. The rhythm of the throw,
Full flag, Joe.
I think, is just
throw first.
such a benefit to him. He is able to move around the board, change his target, adjust, and still keep in rhythm. He's not too quick. He's not too slow. Nothing's going to stop that machine clicking on to the next gear and the next gear and the next gear.
93.
That's 4. Make it 5. And Matt Campbell has thrown 6 perfect darts to start this leg. We have gone 7 darts into the 9 this weekend, but no further.
Well, I say, a fairly muted reaction from the crowd. I'm not sure if they were fully keeping up there, but here we go. 9 darts in the offing. Well, found their voice now.
Would have been only his second career 9 darter and his first
89.
on stage. Brilliant leg from Matt Campbell.
Yeah, won't be losing sight of the bigger picture here, because this is for an instant break of
84.
throw back
Match record
after
52.
Cullen edged in front at 2-1. And this could be an 11 dart break as well for Campbell.
He's got a full flag.
I was going to say, we saw
Campbell.
yesterday Graham Usher threatening
Fifth
the
flag, Matt to throw first.
9 dart leg. He
Game
ended
on.
up losing it, lost the match 6-0, and I just for a moment feared that Campbell might suffer a similar fate in terms of losing the leg at least. Anyway,
134.
Cullen was looking at a hefty 143 anyway.
100.
Well, this is a fabulous standard at the start of this game. And Matt Campbell, who is a player we've seen
100.
throw some big numbers, not enormously regularly, but he has got it in his locker. It is not beyond the
96.
realms that he maintains these sorts of numbers. In which case, Joe Cullen is going to have to up it. He's quite capable of doing it. We've seen him go over 107 countless times on the Euro
59.
Tour. And even in Graz, there was a game with Dirk van Duijvenbode where they both looked like they were going to finish with averages in the 110s at one stage before they dropped to measly 107s.
57.
But we have seen Campbell average close to 110 before. Did that in a floor tournament last year.
Yeah.
If you look at his best stuff on stage or on the
135.
TV, it's not really. We've seen him go over the 100 mark. So this is really, really good.
80. Match requires 73.
Double 8.
He's got a fifth
And the
flag,
lead
Matt
changes
Campbell.
hands again.
Yeah.
1-0 up, 2-1 down, 3-2 up as this seesaws back and forth.
I made the point yesterday with Campbell. You see a little bit of everything, and I think we've seen that today as well. Some big scoring, some slightly errant finishing, but some good
121.
finishing as well. And if he can just knit it all together and find a degree of consistency, then I think he could be okay. As you say, he's no stranger to a ton plus average. He's produced
140.
more than a handful of those in recent months on the Pro Tour, certainly.
It's not like he's a regular on the European Tour. It's only the
139.
5th tournament he's played.
$100. $140.
Yeah, twice this year he's averaged over 100 on the Pro Tour, the Players' Championship circuit. But he's threatening something big today.
101.
And yet, Cullen is doing his best to stand up to it. Single 12. Oh, misses a big number. Cardinal sin. And I talked about his rhythm. For some
69.
reason,
Match required
he was
81.
thrown out of it then. And I don't think it's done him any favours. 12 segment. He's missed it the other side.
Wow, it's contagious.
53.
Yeah, 53 remaining, so Campbell 13 for tops, but
41. Joey requires
well,
32.
both players guilty there of some very careless play.
He's on the sixth leg.
And
Joe Cullen.
Cullen
Seventh leg,
plays
Matt
his get out of jail
Roper.
free card in that one. gets away with it, back on terms at 3 apiece. One break of throw apiece in this one. Campbell still averaging well over 106 at the moment.
Yeah, really good game. Competitive, high quality. But Joe Cullen has already shown this year
100.
on the Euro Tour he's got the minerals to stand up to world-class displays and still find a way of winning. Now, when he did it against Ross Smith, winning a match with an average 9 or 10 points lower than his opponent, he said at the end of that, I managed to stop him going into the lead. And that was the key thing. I knew he was playing better than me, but I never let him get ahead of me. And I just kept on shutting the door. Here, Matt Campbell has got the darts, but he may not have them for long.
Yeah, and Joe himself, I mean, he said it in Graz when I was commentating there, but he said it more than one occasion. You know, he's not one for paying too much attention to averages, or at least that's what he claims, whether it's his own or indeed his opponents. There are occasions where it might feel as though he's averaging only 82 and it's actually been closer to a ton. The exact opposite can apply as well. But Joe Cullen, yeah, like you say, just needs to do enough now just to stop Campbell gaining too much momentum.
Match record 167.
Quite interested come the end of this game when we hear from one of them. Oh, he's going for it, is he? He's going for it. Oh, you Canadian madman! No need for that! But Matt Campbell is playing so well. Why not?
Well, 7 perfect darts not too long ago. The 167 checkout, and again, I thought he deserved a bigger round of applause than that as well.
177.
Just a little, I mean, like you say, didn't need to. It was an aggressive manoeuvre, but when you pull it off, it doesn't send out a bit of a message.
Well, he must feel really good. Matt Campbell knows he's playing well. I was just saying, I would be interested to see whoever wins this when they say
40.
What they think of how they played. Because Joe Cullen at the minute probably feels like he's playing all right. Maybe he feels he's playing rubbish because he feels the other guy is doing more than him. You might feel that he's just sticking in there in this game. But they've both had some excellent moments.
140.
This is another good leg from Cullen, threatening a 4-visit leg.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Joe will be keen to, as you say, get back on the horse after that early exit. No ranking money for that defeat by Bunting in Leeuwarden last week.
Now then. Again, knocked out of his rhythm, so just resets and finds the treble. Might be an important dart, that one, because there could be all kinds of pressure coming. 177 would leave tops.
Oh, well, look at this. Oh, he's got the 177 as well. Now that is pressure. How does Cullen respond? Well, he's got 2 darts at '88 now. And perhaps he needs 2 darts at '88 as well, because the finishing hasn't been where it should be. 3 out of a possible 10 so far for Joe Cullen. And Campbell looking at tops for a 5-3 lead, and that is exactly what he has.
7 points away from reaching the final day of a European tour for the first time in his career.
Here we go, chance. And that leaves tops.
91.
And that leaves the door open. But for how much longer?
70.
Oh, once again, he's hit the single one with his first dart. Did it not too long ago as well. And that has been a problem for Joe Cullen today. And Matt Campbell, take 2, double 10 this time. And this time, George Noble has a good look at it, but it's more than good enough from Matt Campbell, and a 103.49 average. And he rounds things off with a 17 darter, but it's the numbers that preceded it that really catch the eye. 103.49. The average, 6 out of 14 on the doubles, not too shabby in the end either. And Matt Campbell once again just gives us all another illustration of exactly what he's capable of. And for Joe Cullen, it's another opening match defeat on the European Tour following last week's early gets it in layer one as well. Something to address for Joe, perhaps. Campbell through to the round of 16. Here at the Belgian Darts Open, he wins by 6 legs to 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Ginger Ninja Matt Campbell through to the third round of a European Tour event for the first time in his career. And Matt, not only that, we saw fireworks right there. That was fireworks from you, averaged 103.5.
Well, I thought it was worse than that, but yeah, I'm thankful. Yeah, it was a good match. I mean, if you let Joe, just like Callan, if you let him get going, paraphrase, you're screwed. Yeah.
I mean, this is a little milestone for you now, through to the final day of action of a European Tour event. It didn't take you that long.
Depends on what you call long. It's been a year and a half. But yeah, no, I'm excited to make it to my first Sunday and see what tomorrow takes me.
Tomorrow, either Dirk van Duijvenbode or Raymond van Barneveld. If you could choose, who would you pick?
Honestly, both of them are great players. I respect both of them, so either one I play, it's going to be a privilege.
The interviews as short as the matches with you, Matt. Well done. Congratulations on this achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Ginger Ninja, Matt Campbell.
Can I go back down?
Well, we have just seen a significant milestone in the career of Matt Campbell. For the first time, he is through to the final day of a European Tour event, reaching the round of 16 with a 6-3 win over Joe Cullen. Some standout numbers there, as you can see, when you break it down, the average of 103.49, but there was a leg of, or a spell of 4 legs where he picked up a 12-dart break and a 14-dart break that really set the tone. And the finishing wasn't too bad either. 6 out of a possible 14 for Matt Campbell, with a very notable success indeed. He goes through to the 3rd round tomorrow to face either Barney or Dirk van Dijvenbode. And that's the state of play as far as this afternoon's session is concerned. Wins also for Rob Cross, the 2-time European champion, and Andy Barton's the local hero. Up next, we have Danny Noppert, a 3-time quarter-finalist in his last 3 European Tour events. He's up against Super Ted Everts.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 2023 Black Leather Belgian Darts Open. 2nd round action brought to you live by the PDC Europe here from the Oktoberhallen in Wieze, Belgium. Time to welcome our next 2 players. Would you please welcome first from England, a winner on the Development Tour and the Challenge Tour, a European Tour quarterfinalist, and the former World Youth Champion, Super Ted Everts. And his opponent from the Netherlands, the world number 8, with 3 titles on the Pro Tour. He is the former UK Open champion. Please welcome the Freeze, Danny Noppert.
Stay up on that rise, stay up on that rise, never come down. Stay up on that rise, stay up on that rise, never come down. Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated. All tied up, no love, and I hate to see you waiting. They say it's all been done, but they haven't seen the best of it.
Well, we're almost at the halfway stage of the afternoon session, day 2 of the Belgian Darts Open. No sign of nerves for Ted Everts as he made his way onto the stage. He did look a little bit lost at one point in time there, as if he was trying to find a familiar face in the crowd, but Everts eventually making his way on. Very intricate autograph work as well from Danny Noppert as well, who's always more than happy to sign his name for his many fans out there as well. 1 or 2 boos though as Danny Noppert took to the stage, or as he started his run down the walkway. The Dutchman here at the Belgian Darts Open. Anyway, should be a good encounter between these 2. Noppert, as I mentioned earlier, a 3-time quarter-finalist in his last 3 European Tour events. Some might say he's knocking on the door. A semi-final appearance at the European Darts Open earlier this year as well. Of course, he has featured in European Tour finals, and some might say the next cab off the rank in terms of our next European Tour champion. I'm certainly in that camp, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not alone as well. All set up. I think it should be a decent encounter. Ted Everts, it's all about developing this habit, I suppose, of picking up back-to-back wins, something he's not really been able to master so far this year.
Yeah, that's very fair. Wins the first game in a European Tour event, usually loses the next one. So I think the pattern of beating the fellow qualifier.
Danny to throw first. Game on.
But then getting through the seeded player after that has just been one hurdle too many for Ted so far this year. And when you're up against the 9th seed, who is very, very strong and very consistent,
96.
this is a tough task for Ted. He doesn't have the darts either. So he's going to have to do consistent brilliance pretty much from the off. He can't afford to let what happened to Joe Cullen happen to him.
I'm assuming he must be fairly warm.
Yeah, just a bit. It's very, very warm in this hall. It's actually the same sort of construct as Graz, but the roof is a little higher, which I'm very pleased about for the sake of everybody on stage and the fans. But anybody who has got a costume on today that is rather weighty, I applaud thee.
140.
Well, I'm applauding Ted Everts so far. Back-to-back ton 40s there to get down to a position from where he can make a challenge up down to the 19s on 265.
98.
Yeah, two very metronomic throws here. A definitive stopping point for Ted there with that prod. Back and through, really smooth. Same sort of process for Danny Noppert as well. If you look at his technique, the dart comes up, it goes prod, back and through. So there's the prod, there's the back, there's the through, and that's exactly what he wants. 57 next, and a bullseye. Well, if you're going to miss it left and hit the 14.
Well, Matt Campbell pulled out the 167 in leg 7 of our previous match in that win against Joe Cullen. Everts now looking at 110, and he too is now looking at the bullseye for a showstopper, and he too is outside the target, but on the other side.
And he too leaves a double from missing the bullseye. Two of the best misses you can have at the bullseye. However, the person coming back first for an outer ring shot is the man who takes the first leg in Danny Noppert.
Ted to throw first.
Fascinating game it was yesterday for Ted Everts against Dennis Nielsen. He was firmly in control of it. And he had a somewhat up and down affair on double top, but it was still a good display. I was impressed with Ted. And he's just got so much personality, this young man. That's one of the reasons I love him being on the European Tour. Because no matter who he hangs out with,
97.
he has this infectious way of making people happy. Whether he's making chocolates for them, making a few jokes, or whether it's the socks he wears. That's what he was talking about with Bradley Brooks yesterday. They were having sock banter.
96.
I have to say, Paul, our camera team will be hard pushed to pick out Everts' socks.
There's a challenge for you guys. You've got to get some sort of snake cam to peel back the bottom of his trouser leg and show us what socks he's got.
60.
He might show us if he wins.
He needs to do a Van Gogh. Oh, now there we go. Closing in. There's something there, but it's hidden by the hem of his trousers.
It's not just a bog standard pattern either. It's always something rather amusing.
That's not bog standard either. That's a 180. And that is the first of the match. But yeah, just to embellish what you were saying a short while ago, I mean, Everts, this is only his 5th European Tour event since the start of last year. And before yesterday, he'd won only 2 matches in that time frame. And I think the Nielsen draw was a kind one, without being disrespectful to our Swedish qualifier. But it's, yeah, this question mark about Everts and his ability to back it up.
59.
Now, on the Pro Tour, he's failed to win back-to-back matches this year. 5 round 1 defeats, 5 round 2 defeats.
And 2 very different disciplines as well. When you're playing a Players' Championship, it's playing multiple games in the same day, whereas on the European Tour in the first couple of days,
100.
it's about winning 1 game on the Friday, 1 game on the Saturday, and then the nice problem to have is to try and win 4 on a Sunday.
Yeah. And some players like the rhythm of a Pro Tour day where it is pretty relentless, let's face it.
92.
He's never won 2
Danny
matches in a day on a European tour, because
Yeah.
the best he's ever done is a quarterfinal, where he lost to Van Gerwen almost 4 years ago. That's a great life for another. Double 12.
130.
As soon as you get that second 60, you think this has got to go out.
16.
And Everts was holding his breath, hoping that it didn't, and he was right.
Still has work to do though. Double eights just outside in the upper portion, and that
He's on
one,
the
yeah,
second
just
leg, 10
shuffled it in alongside,
Select
didn't he?
Danny to throw first.
And Everts gets back on terms at 1 apiece. Yeah, Dennis Nilsson yesterday 6-2. Everts always looked in control, or certainly never looked
134.
in any great danger in that one. 92.13 the average. A couple of good wins in qualifying, especially the 6-5 against Vincent van der Waal, a former European Tour champion, of course.
140.
Almost 10 years ago that now. I'm sure Vincent would hate me mentioning that. That was back in 2014. But Danny and that elusive European Tour title, when it comes to the best players who have not got one yet, Rob Cross doesn't qualify because the European Championship doesn't count. Sorry, Ross Smith. Same for you. I know it's very harsh, but it's true. Danny Noppert, Nathan Aspinall, Rob Cross, Ross Smith. There are loads of players out there who have not got one of these titles yet, and it just proves how hard they are to win.
91.
That was a really telling camera angle for that Everts 180, by the way. And once again, he's just developing this knack of producing a bit of consistency. And I say that, and he's produced a 25 and a 44. So there you go.
136.
He's lost his way with that visit, and it's a shame because the build-up play, the approach play, was very, very eye-catching. Noppert looking at 136, looking to set this up as best he can.
96.
He's left himself tops.
As soon as you get that first small 20, you think, well, the ton's out. You want to get yourself the 96 to leave tops, and that's exactly what he's done. Everts does exactly the same from 137, pretty much. He gets the ideal approach. But you do get the feeling that Danny is starting to erode the confidence of Everts by getting to the double first.
He's on the third leg. Danny Noppert. Fourth leg set to throw first. Game on.
I don't know about you, Rob, but I'm really looking forward to the next match. And it's not just because Damien Hetter's playing against Damien Moll, but
60.
I do wonder what he's going to do on that walk-on.
Well, there's that.
I actually bumped into Damon about 10 minutes ago and I said, looking forward to seeing it. And he said nothing. He's not giving anything away.
Either there is something special in the pipeline
97.
or he has absolutely nothing planned.
He's a different person to hang around with at the minute. He's always been a great person to chill out with or talk to, but at the minute there's just something else about him, a great aura. And the statistics in this game are telling a great story.
97.
Both in 3 figures. First 9s, very useful. Very much like yesterday for Everts. That department was excellent.
96.
There you can see that Noppert's had twice as many chances so far. And that's what Everts has got to stop with that scoring ability. Should be a 140 every day of the week.
140.
Now today is Saturday, and the 140 is there. That's again. I mean, Everts has produced some big numbers so far today in his scoring. But yeah, I mean, it's early days, I suppose. But just whether he can develop that consistency over a potentially 11-leg match against a player of Noppert's caliber is open to question.
60.
I think we're grading him by very high standards as well. You talk about Dimitri Vandenberg, and we also talk about Luke Humphreys, and a lot of different world youth champions that you've got on show today, because there are 6 world youth champions playing today and 4 additional finalists. Don't accuse that system of not working, because it firmly does work.
Yeah.
And one of the finalists is Michael Van Gerwen. But
100.
he's graded by very high marks because of what
150.
Humphreys and Dimitri have done.
150 for Noppert for a timely break of throw, but It's not going to happen, and Everts
43. Said you require
returns looking
44.
at 44. Just sense this one is bubbling under at the moment. Double 16.
He's gonna
I mean, that was actually, that first start was almost a 24 to lead double
Danny
10. It was almost a
first.
double combination for Everts, but he is back on terms at 2 apiece. 2 14 darters for Danny Noppert, 2 17 dart holes of throw for Ted Everts. There's a symmetry there,
100.
and it underlines this issue that Everts has had perhaps. There have been some productive visits to the board, some big numbers, but just 1 or 2 stumbles along the way.
One thing that is encouraging for Ted this year is that he's had his best
135.
ever average on the European Tour in his career. But the downside of that is it was a losing average. It's amazing how many times that happens, actually. And that was in a defeat to a Dutchman by the name of Dirk van Dijvenbode. That was in Leverkusen at the last 32 stage, which is exactly where we are right now. So he knows what is incoming from Danny Noppert. It will feel extremely familiar.
95.
Just
Well,
a question of whether he can hurdle him at some point.
I think Everts will be pleased with where he is right now. I'm sure he's aware that his average is certainly where it should be, and perhaps where it needs to be against a player of Noppert's calibre. You look at Everts this year on the Pro Tour, he's averaging